up, everybody? How's it
We are
going?
live.
What's happening?
It's Thursday.
Yeah, these Thursdays are starting to prove to be like a real thing for us.
They really are. And
Yeah.
I am a level of exhausted once again, just like yesterday, because I've been training somebody at work and I forgot how tiring training is because you got to do your job and then explain doing your job to someone else, often
Mm-hmm.
multiple times,
Yep.
all day long.
Yep. That's how it
And
works.
by the time I get home, I'm so hungry and so tired, like I did 50 bajillion ab exercises.
I understand that feeling wholeheartedly. I mean, what's funny is like I'm currently looking at our Instagram and the reminder did not post today, which is weird. So I'm gonna have to go
Oh
look at that after this
no.
because I'm like, what happened to my pretty graphic?
Oh my God, that's so sad. For today's standoff, are you sure it didn't post? I thought it did.
I'm not seeing it on our Instagram. I'm like,
Oh, you know
I
what? I
worked
think you're
too
right.
hard for this not to post. You know what I'm saying? Like,
What can you still post it?
yeah,
I mean, I guess
I'm
it's
just
kind
looking
of
for
like,
it. I have it on my phone for in case of emergencies. So
I
I'm
mean, I
just gonna
guess
post it
technically
while
it's kind of like we're
I'm gonna post it
here.
while we chat because obviously something's up.
Oh, I see the boxcar children one posted, but that one did
Yeah,
not.
it's supposed to be two today. I noticed on the days where I have it scheduled for two things to post that it will sometimes mess up with the posting. Hi Bethany, how are you? So lesson learned. Still
So
wouldn't
sad.
trade it for the world.
I know, it makes your life so much easier.
It's so much easier. The convenience is so great. So it's just a quick post.
So we're doing a TV standoff today.
So I don't think we have any like real things on like what the TV standoff is. So if you've been participating with us for a Throwbackathon this year, we've been adding little things here and there so that we can, continue having all of our nostalgia conversations, just in different fun ways. And
Yes,
so in honor of the fact that all of this started, hey Deja, all of this started like what 2-3 years ago now, because this is year
yes.
4 technically of Throwbackathon.
Well,
So
year three, but I think there was one year where we had two throwbackathons in the same year or something.
yeah, because according to Instagram, when you scroll, like our first Throwbackathon was 3, yeah, because this is 4th. I don't know how we ended up doing that, but
Because I think
somehow
we
we're on 4th.
started it and then we started it when we hadn't even fully been a book club for a year,
Oh,
I
that's
think.
probably what it was. Like we probably because I was looking at it because I was looking at graphics and I was like, why do we
How did this
how did we get
how did this
here?
happen? Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. I'm just like, I don't know. But okay, so today we're doing a TV standoff. So all this is me and Oshley are gonna pretend to be on opposing sides. You can choose to be on whichever side you want. And we're just gonna argue about which one's better and why. But
I feel
it's
like
specifically for TV.
I may not have enough TV knowledge for this, but it should be interesting.
Really? I mean, today's standoff is between Nicktoons, like the 90s Nicktoon era, and the
Mhm.
90s Disney Toon era. So I was going to let you pick which side you wanted.
I guess I was more of like a Disney originals versus Disney
I
tune.
mean, I feel like Disney Toons, Disney Originals, all of that was in the same category, in my opinion,
Because
because
like the only Disney tunes I was really into would be literally, I'm like, would the Proud Family be considered? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
okay, well, if you want, we can change it to just 90s Disney versus 90s Nickelodeon.
yeah, that's a little bit easier for me.
Okay.
I
It's
don't know
funny because
what
I
it
didn't
is.
actually see Disney Tunes until I was in Germany, but it's fine.
So, what were exactly the Disney tunes? Give me some
Disney too.
examples.
Well, okay, so I need to preface this with the fact that like I don't know what Disney Tunes was, if Disney Tunes was even a thing in the States. I realize that now when I'm saying it, that maybe that wasn't a thing. But when I lived in Germany, there was a whole channel devoted to just Disney cartoons, but like the
We had that
old
too, but I
ones.
just never watched it.
Oh, okay. So, it's like Tailspin, the original,
Gotcha.
DuckTales, the Gummy
Oh, I watched
Bears,
these shows.
Rescue Rangers.
Oh, I watched these shows. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Cause like that was like prime Disney cartoon era. Yeah, like Goof Troop, The Little Mermaid. But
Okay. You know what
back
it
when
is?
every movie had a TV series.
You know what it is? I did not watch these on Disney.
How did you watch them on?
I honestly, I want to say ABC because ABC is owned by Disney.
Oh, that's right. ABC also had a bigger hand in the cartoon too, because that's when you get the Saturday morning cartoons with like the Weekenders and all that other stuff.
Because we didn't get Disney Channel until I was in middle school, and once we got it, all I watched was literally like Lizzie McGuire, Even
Oh
Steven,
man.
like all those shows.
Yeah, but like the channel that we had, it was literally all the old series. Like I've gone back and started rewatching all the old series on Disney Plus again because it just makes my life so happy. But I'm trying to think. Like it was like obviously all of the old Disney movies had a show. So that's Lion
They
King,
did.
Hercules,
They did.
Hercules, Little Mermaid, Aladdin.
Aladdin was my favorite.
Little Mermaid was mine because they actually had a black Little Mermaid. Goof Troop, and Goof Troop's soundtrack was a bop.
It was. It was really
And
good.
yeah, Deja, Goof Troop is definitely Goofy and Max.
Yes.
Yeah, because the song was like, Goof Troop, we always stick together. Bops.
Bops.
I highly recommend you just go watch it just for the theme song, to be honest. Like, I don't know what the show really looks like nowadays, but the theme song was my life. But yeah, do you want Disney or Nick?
Okay, do some examples of Nick tunes.
So Nicktoons would include everything before SpongeBob. So
Oh.
Angry Beavers, Kablam, As Told by Ginger, Rugrats, Hey Arnold,
Oh yeah. Okay.
Stimpy,
This is
Real
tough.
Monsters.
What was that one show with that little girl named Ginger? As Told by
As
Ginger.
Told by Ginger, another Bop soundtrack theme song.
And then there was another one, The Wild Thornberries.
Oh yes, I was gonna say I have a list, but Wild Thornberries is on the list too. Everything before SpongeBob,
Was
because
Recess
SpongeBob
involved
was
in
kind of
that?
the beginning of the end.
Was Recess a part of that? Or was that a different
Recess
network?
is actually Disney.
Oh, okay. Because I did watch that on ABC. Okay. All right. Well, this is a tough choice, because on one hand, I want to say, hey, Arnold is better than everything.
Wow.
But that might be just me being a diehard Hey Arnold fan.
Okay,
Because
so we can take it show by show if you want.
let's just it's a free for all.
So why do you think Hey Arnold is better than all of them though? Because
I
don't get
feel
me
like
wrong, I loved Hey Arnold and they addressed a lot of stuff in Hey Arnold that now that I'm older, I really appreciate. But
I
better
guess for
than
me,
all?
my whole thing is like, what can I watch as an adult and still be just as captivated in a different way as I was captivated as a kid? And like sometimes when those old shows come on, I'm like, oh, but I can't necessarily finish it, don't necessarily watch the whole thing. Maybe I'll watch like 10 minutes and I'll move on with my life. I feel like whenever I stumble upon Hey Arnold, whether I'm just like falling down a YouTube rabbit hole, I just am watching it, I have to finish it. Like I'm sucked in. I'm just like, oh my God, I remember this episode and I have to complete it. So I guess for me, but that's like a personal thing. That's me personally.
So because it's something that you can rewatch as an adult, it
Yes.
gets higher accolades.
Yes, because it stands the test of time in that way. Like I'm just like, oh, okay. Look at all these issues that were covered. Look at all these things that were talked about. I didn't even realize when I was little.
But then the question is like, are you analyzing it as an adult? Or are you analyzing it because Because, like, we notice things with TV shows now that we're older that we just never paid attention to. If we did pay attention to it when we were younger, we were on a different level than the rest of our
Like
peers.
so many of the jokes in Toy Story.
I mean, to be clear, the level of inappropriate adult jokes in kid shows from the 90s
Extremely high.
is extremely high. It makes sense why my dad enjoyed watching the shows with us
Like
because,
even in the Rugrats, like some of the jokes.
oh yeah.
I'm just like, wow, okay.
Yo, speaking of Rugrats, that episode where Granddad was gonna sit down and watch a movie and he was interrupted, and then you saw like the title of the movie. I was like,
I do
was
not remember
Granddad
this.
watching porn while babysitting the
Is
Rugrats?
that what was happening?
Yeah.
I'm shook.
I was like,
That's a whole new level. I mean, I guess the kids wouldn't have known what it
we didn't pay
was.
attention to it, and our parents definitely didn't pay attention to it. So
Ooh, that's crazy.
that's what's funny. I was like, yo, I mean, oh yeah, Animaniacs is definitely
Animaniacs is out of control.
Animaniacs is still out of control because the new version that's out is just inappropriate as well. It's just that I'm older now, so I'm picking up on all that. But when I was younger, none of that made sense. All of that went right over our heads when we were younger. Like,
This is
as
very
an
true.
adult, I'm watching it back like, wait a minute.
Animaniacs had some great little vignettes within Animaniacs. Like Little Lady Susie. Do you remember
Little
that?
Lady Susie. I was obsessed with Elvira because she was so annoying.
She was so annoying. And I'm gonna love you and squeeze you and hold you. And you're like, oh my God. No, I don't know. Oh, maybe it was Little Lady Katie went kaboom.
Little Lady Katie. Why is that not?
Google this. She would get really upset and then she would blow everything up.
Oh, why did you why did you connect
Yeah,
to her?
Little Lady Katie goes kaboom. Like, to me, that was so funny. Was that funny? Wow. I feel like it was. Yes, it was.
No? Okay. Of course you find the exploding chick funny. That's funny.
I don't know why I found so much joy in that. Maybe it was like female rage. I don't know. Subconsciously, I was
Female
like
rage.
connecting to that. I was like, yes, blow that shit up. Blow it all up. I don't know. But I really enjoyed it.
So I'm trying to think if there's a show that hits me like the way that you're saying Hey Arnold hits you. And to be honest, one, I don't think I'm able to make that clear assessment because there are a lot of shows that came out and that were out during the Hey Arnold time that we can't watch on playback right now.
No, we can't.
Like, I would love to compare As Told by Ginger and Hey Arnold.
You can watch As Told by Ginger on YouTube. I've done it before.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, see, like, if I go back and watch both of them, because I feel like both of them had that type of show where they could talk about topics.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about homelessness, gentrification. Like, we talked about all of those kind of things in these shows, and none of us cared.
None of us.
And it was great. Oh, she said, Bethany said, do you remember the Hey Arnold episode when it was a heat wave? That was a classic.
Yes, of course. That was one of the classic ones.
No, my favorite episode of Hey Arnold had to be the one where Gerald called himself moving out.
Mm-hmm.
Because his daddy was like, why are you turning on lights like you pay bills?
Yeah, that was so relatable. I was like, oh my
that
God,
was the most, to me, that was the most relatable episode when I was younger because
I feel your pain.
I was like, I feel Gerald because I can't have nothing to myself.
Nothing.
I got to share everything with my siblings. Like, I feel like I'm the middle child of 4, which doesn't even make sense by math terms. Like
you're just sharing. Sharing is caring for life.
Right. So I was just like, But
What?
So, we both come from religious households.
Uh-oh.
Was there any show that your mom or dad forbid you from watching?
This is what I'll say. My parents were actually really good when it came to TV shows. because they never like hyper monitored our shows. Like, I mean, I remember being in like sixth, seventh grade watching like MTV's Undressed. Do you remember that show?
Oh my gosh, for real?
Uh-huh. And like Degrassi, which was pretty intense for a kid, watching that. And like, we just, the only thing that was monitored was our bedtime. And so it's like, if you had a show that came on after a certain time, you just weren't going to watch it. So like, for the longest time, our bedtime was like 9:30, and then it changed to 10:30. Then when I was in high school, it was 11. So like, the
Hmm.
shows that we were allowed to watch kind of followed along what times they came on.
Hmm.
And I don't know, we just were never really like heavily policed on what we were. Now, don't get me wrong, we were not stupid and we wouldn't watch certain things when they were with us. But like, just like any parent, like my parents weren't about to like sit in the living room and watch TV with us. You know, they were off doing their own thing. So I just was never like, I can't remember a show where my parents, because I mean, I was watching like Dark Angel and like all like the
Oh wow.
all the what was the network called, like it was UPN at first and then it changed to like CW, and there was some crazy like Charmed. um
I mean, I watched that with my mom every time I got my hair done.
but you know, like there's like, it's like witchcraft, and like Angel was like, you know, about angels and demons. Like, I don't know, we weren't really policed as much on what we were watching. But again, like we weren't no fools. We weren't watching like, if they were in the living room with us, there were certain things we weren't going to watch. But they never were like, "What are you watching?" Or like, "You shouldn't be watching that." Like, we just, or maybe we just never got caught. I don't know.
Oh nah, my
Oh, I do know one show that my mom, like, we weren't like we weren't stopped from watching it, but my mom just thought it was really disturbing. Two shows, three shows. Wow, all three shows, and I think they were all on. Two were on Nickelodeon, and I think one was on Cartoon Network.
okay.
Ren and Stimpy.
Yup.
My parents were just like, "What in the world? This show is
Well,
gross." And
considering that now it just seems like, one was occupied as a sex worker. Like
right,
I
right,
understand now when maybe my parents picked up on that when we were younger, because obviously I did not pick up on that,
clearly.
because my mom, that was an adamant, you will not watch that.
So is that, well? My mom was just like disgusted, and there was like Cat Dog,
Yep, that was another one I wasn't allowed to watch.
and then another one where she wasn't disgusted. She was just kind of like, "Why do you like this so much?" Was Ah Real Monsters, which was like one of my favorite shows.
I couldn't watch All Real Monsters if my little sisters were in their room, because they used to literally be freaked out. It
I
was
mean,
something about the dude that carried his eyes with his hands
Crumb.
that my sisters were not cool with.
Are you
They
talking about Crumb?
It's the fact that you remember his name.
Look, that was my shit. Like, I could probably watch Aria Monsters now and just be completely happy with my life
Oh
and
my gosh, yeah,
love it.
no, like that was I like me and my brother were allowed to watch All Real Monsters, but the sister after me is 5 years younger than me. So around that time, she was young enough to know for a fact that there were those monsters underneath her bed.
I loved Ablina and Crumb. The Grumble was like the teacher. The
Oh
teacher was freaky
yeah.
looking because they had like a sharp nail for a nose and then like three legs with heels on. That was weird. So I couldn't figure out, are you a girl? Are you a boy? Are you androgynous? Are you non-binary? I'm
He
confused.
was
And
doing a lot
then
of thought process back then. I was not. I was like monsters, genderless.
this is true. But Oblina wasn't genderless. She was basically like big lips on this like stick
Which
thing.
again
Like
was
this,
weird.
I don't know. Our Real Monsters was my shit, and like I don't know why I loved it so much. Like my mom legitimately would sit me down and have these conversations because I think she was concerned about my mental health. And she's just like, "I just want to know why you like it so much." And you know, me being the kid that I am, because you know, when you're a child, you don't have the language to express your emotions because you just can't process things the same way as you can when you're older because your brain
Right.
isn't fully formed. And I would just be like, "I don't know, mom, I just like it." And she'd be like, "Don't you find it to be strange?" And I would just be like, and she'd be, you know, in her little accent, she'd be like, "You're watching this thing again." And, you know, and she'd just be so lost. And I'm like,
It's always when you do
"What?"
the accent that just makes me laugh.
And she's like, now, wow, this is troubling. I'm like, why is it troubling? I like it.
No, I'll never forget this day because it was one of our hair days. And in my household, hair day meant basically my mom ran an assembly line to do everybody's hair.
Of course.
And she was braiding my hair and we were putting the beads on and Cat Dog came on.
I know she was shook.
She was like, so it's a cat and a dog together. So they poop out of each other's. Y'all ain't watching this.
Yeah.
She was like, she was to this day. She like, if you bring up Cat Dog to this day, she will still go on the same rant that
Oh my
she's been
God.
on going on like my whole life. Because conceptually, it just she was like, no, absolutely not.
Well,
No.
here's the thing. Cat Dog was a little like out there. You know, like Ren
It
Stimpy was a
was.
little bizarre, but Cat Dog was on a whole. You're just like, what is
Sometimes
happening?
I wonder about the people who create these things. Like, so what was going through your head when you were like, Cat Dog,
They
that's
were
gonna be the show.
they were
Boom.
clearly on substances. Clearly. I'm trying to think like
Oh
what
my
other
God.
shows were
While
a
you're
little.
thinking,
Oh, do you remember Angry Beavers?
Angry Beavers was my stuff.
That was a good show.
It was because at one point it was like all of them came on one after the other and ended with kablam.
Yes, agreed.
So that was my junk. So like Bethany, like you, religious household wise, I wasn't allowed to watch Simpsons or South Park or Daria. Didn't stop me from watching it, but like I wasn't technically allowed to watch it, you know.
I think I've only ever seen 3 episodes of South Park ever in my entire life. I've seen a lot of clips because for a while it was one of the most popular shows on TV, so you couldn't escape it. So I've seen a lot of clips and like funny parts, but to actually sit down and purposefully watch it, I've probably only seen 3 episodes. And then for a very brief time, my household was a Simpsons household in the sense that like everyone in the family watched it
Hmm.
together. And then that didn't last for very long though, because my parents were like, "Oh, this is not appropriate."
Oh my gosh.
um, but I remember watching it because I will never forget the theme song of The Simpsons. Like it lives rent free
Nope,
in my
never
head
was
sometimes.
never ever allowed to watch it. I did not watch an episode of Simpsons until
You've
I was at a
never
friend's
seen an
house.
episode, not even one episode.
Well, I've seen it now, but like
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't actually see I never saw The Simpsons in my house. It wasn't until I slept over at a I slept the only friend's house I was allowed to sleep over, like ever, and that was only because of a family emergency. We got to watch The Simpsons. I remember that. It was the episode where Lisa thought she lost her stuff or something like
Oh,
that. And it's sad that I remember this, but
I
you know.
love Lisa. I remember going to school with kids who came from like a Simpsons culture in their house and they just all sat down and watched The Simpsons together and they had never missed an episode.
I don't know what
And
that's
like I said, for a very, very brief time, my family was part of that. But quickly that changed once
you
the
know,
wrong character, once Homer said the wrong thing that one time, it was over.
right. It's over. But no, leave no book behind. Listen, me and my brother actually did skateboard. So when Rocket Power came out, we were the idiots trying to build ramps because we wanted to get footage.
I
And you know,
think Rocket Power must have come out around the same time as like Recess.
Recess came earlier in our childhood. So it was Recess, The Weekenders, all of those. They were really serious Saturday morning hotspots on like ABC and stuff. But that was like when we were younger. Rocket Power came out. I'm gonna say Rocket Power was more
Did it come out the same time as the Wild Thornberries?
yes.
Okay,
That was because that
so
was you can look at the animation
it's similar.
and
Okay, so that makes sense because like for some reason I was a Wild Thornberries girl, not a Rocket Power. I mean, I know you could have watched both, but
yeah, they all came on right around. I watched all of them. I did not during that era of Nickelodeon. I did not dislike any Nicktoons like at all. I watched all of them with the same fervor. Wild Thornberries. We used to have a cocker spaniel, and he used to just plop right up in a chair next to me
oh,
and watch it with me. And
that
my
is
mom
so
used to
cute.
hate it because I literally made him a staircase so he could climb up and
That is
like
really
take his
sweet.
spot. That was a show. My sister wanted to be a veterinarian because of that show until
Oh,
she saw the documentary where the monkey was owned by the woman and then he like ripped her face off. And after that,
Yeah.
my sister was like, nope.
That monkey hated her. That was like, that monkey secretly hated you. What were you doing to that monkey? That's the real question.
He was being a monkey. Did you ever hear about biker mice?
No. What?
Have you ever heard of Beetleborgs?
No. What is?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So TA Summers, shout out to you because I think this is the first time I've ever seen somebody mention biker mice or
Okay.
Beetleborgs
I
because
need answers
I don't even know
because
how to
you keep saying
explain this.
biker mice and it's
So
not making things clear.
So think of during the time where like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers first came out, right?
Ah, yes.
Okay, so Mighty Morphin Power Rangers kind of set this precedent of these shows where it was like a group of friends or like a
Mm-hmm.
trio.
Mm-hmm.
They would be the people that would kind of like either save the world or be like the main protagonist as a whole, which sparked multiple shows such as Biker Mice
Oh, wow.
and Beetleborgs. I literally cannot explain this to you. I'm gonna have to send you the trailers, or not the trailers. I'm gonna have to send you the intros to these things because I had the action figures for both of them. My
That's
dad
awesome.
loved watching Beetleborgs and Biker Mice with us. And the biker mice were very large rats, and my mom was not down with it.
I think the only rat thing I watched was that movie based on the book, The Secret Rats of Nim.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean that's actually the Nim series is actually really good, and it's a whole story behind that one day we will go. One day I will truly show you guys how deep my Disney lore fascination is because Nim is related to that.
Oh, wait. Put a bookmark there because I definitely want to revisit that. That might actually need to be a whole live because
It would have to be a whole live
we need
because
to talk about
the
that in
way
depth.
that I dig into Disney history is real.
But do you remember that movie about Fievel? We're talking about mice movies, mice cartoons.
I was about to say, how do we jump to this? Are we about to jump to the sad movies of the 90s? Because my God.
Well, I'm trying to remember because I remember his name. Wasn't it like he was trying to come to America or something?
Yes, technically it was like, how do I
An
describe?
American Tale.
Yeah.
An American Tale. I remember this.
It was
It
on a
came out the same
train.
year I was born, and
Mhm.
it was like I can't remember. I have not seen this movie since I was a kid,
It
but I
was
read
like a
it again.
super hit.
Oh, it was a huge hit.
Yeah. It beat out Disney's movie. Yeah.
I mean, talk about immigration. Oh,
That
Fievel.
is so true. I was allowed to watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch, despite my parents being against everything witchy,
You
witchcraft
know
related,
why? Because
anything.
Melissa Joan Hart was just this cute white girl next door who's so funny and
Yo, speaking for some
adorable.
reason, Melissa Joan Hart, who did Clarissa Explains It All?
She did, yes.
That was her, right?
Yes, that was her.
Maybe that's why I was also allowed to watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch because um my parents had already seen her so many times on TV that they probably didn't even realize that it was a different show.
Or, I mean, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the Melissa Joan Hart version, and the rest of the cast was like so light. It was even lighter
Yeah,
than
it
the
was very
movie.
light and ditzy.
No, it was even lighter than the movie because remember, it was a movie first with
Oh,
Melissa Joan
yeah.
Hart. And the movie was kind of dark in a way. It had an edge to it. I mean, dark for what it was, but it had an edge to it. And then the show was just like a million times lighter.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. I don't know because I think about that all the time. Like, you make a good point. Like, my parents did not let me watch a lot of things. Yeah, Well, actually, no. What's funny is when Charmed first came out, I was overseas, so we didn't know about Charmed. But when we came to the States, Charmed was a family event on what was it, TBS?
Yeah.
Charmed was a family event. It was like, Ma, if we braided my hair, can we braid it around the time Charmed come on with the 3 episodes?
Have you seen the reboot?
I haven't. One day I'll dig into that one day.
I'll say this. I didn't make it through the first episode, which doesn't mean it's not good, but I think I'm just still so married to the original.
That's
But
possible.
watching the
That's why
reboot
I
was
haven't watched it yet.
really hard. I was like, oh my God, this is so different.
Yo, what I think we're gonna have to talk about 90s movies, 90s kids movies separate because one, we'll
Oh,
probably
separate.
all be up in here crying at some point.
Yeah, they were trying to traumatize.
And
I
two,
have this.
like, no, they were traumatized. Like, no,
Okay,
it's not that they
are
were
you?
traumatizing, they were good.
Here's the thing. Have you come to the realization that from books to cartoons to movies, they were trying to traumatize our entire generation from every angle? Like, if it wasn't reading Bridge to Terabithia at school,
Oh.
then it was watching Balto. Like,
No,
what?
Balto wasn't even the worst one of
All
those.
dogs
Like,
go to heaven? Anyone?
oh my gosh, for real? That's what we're bringing up.
Okay, we won't go on this tangent, but
We'll
I'm
be
just
here
saying.
forever if we start going on about the movies
What
because
if we were
Lord
part?
knows those movies, I have gone back and watched multiple of them and I've still cried
What if our
because
generation was part of a top secret government experiment to see
for trauma. Does
how
that
much
explain
we
why
could
we
take?
haven't had a break in since we became adults in terms of like world crisis?
I know we've lived through like what,
We've
two
lived through
wars
way too
now,
much.
two
And
recessions
we're only in our
now,
30s and we've lived through all of that
a
already. Like that was just in like 10
pandemic.
years. It's like
Yeah,
no, we are not talking about movies today. We can talk about movies next week if y'all want to, but we are not talking about movies today.
yeah, not today, but we
But
would be here all
you're
day.
right though. The TV show for All Dogs Go to Heaven, I enjoyed that one as well.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that one was good. I think they realized they had to go lighter on the TV series because there was no way that series would have lasted past like 2 or 3 episodes as dark as the movie was
Yeah,
because
there's no way. Also,
no.
random segue. They're thinking about rebooting Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I'm not a fan.
Why? We don't need another Buffy. We already got the graphic novels. Like we went
Well,
from TV show to graphic novels. We good, bro. We don't want it.
they're rebooting a bunch of old shows. Like they're rebooting one of my favorite shows of all time is One Tree Hill. They're rebooting that, which I'm
Why?
giving them the side eye. They're like major
Why
side eye.
can't we just get some new shows?
Why can't we just get one channel where they play all the old shows and then they give us the new
Honestly, they could do that too if they so determined to bring these shows. Just put the old ones on one channel.
Agreed.
We
But
must take a quick segue to shout out Mary Kate and Ashley for all the TV shows and movies that they put on for us throughout the 90s.
the chokehold that Mary Kate and Ashley had on our generation was so
Bro,
intense.
you remember their clothing line?
Girl, I had their lip gloss. They sold
I
makeup
was
at
about to say
Walmart.
their lip glosses,
I
bruh.
will never forget. It was this clear gloss with sparklies and it smelled like pineapples. And
I wasn't allowed to get it because my mom said my cheap lip smacker worked just fine.
I mean, that was all I was allowed to get because I think they had lip gloss and then they had nail polish, I think,
Mhm.
which my parents graciously allowed me to get. But I'll never forget, like, what was that one movie they had about going to grandmother's house through the woods or something?
Is that the Christmas special or the other one?
I don't even remember.
It's the fact that there are so many that we have to
I
we're
think
not even gonna talk about that book series.
okay, look.
Listen,
They just had to put Mary Kate and Ashley on anything, and we were ready to buy.
Mary Kate and Ashley and Barbie
Chokehold on our
back in the
generation.
90s.
Oh, look, you couldn't
Oh
tell us
my
nothing.
gosh.
Couldn't tell us a thing.
If I
And the
wasn't
fact that,
watching one of them corny Barbie movies, I was obsessing over the 13-year-old girls who were in Paris with no parental supervision.
okay, how? And when you think about it, the fact that they basically just repurposed the same doll over and over in different
Over
clothes
and
and just
over.
called her different names, and we were still begging our parents to buy it for us is mind blowing.
I had a Mary Kate doll and cried because it wasn't an Ashley doll because my name is Ashley and my mom still won't let me forget it.
Oh, that's
If that
good.
doesn't explain the kind of chokehold that they had
Look,
on us.
it's unexplicable. Like I don't even understand it myself. Like I'm like, wow, they
Oh
really
my
had us.
gosh.
They
My
really had
favorite
us.
was How the West Was Fun and Double Trouble, Toilet
Oh,
Trouble.
yes. Double Toil and Trouble was so good.
Two of a
Wow.
kind. I love the fact that all of us clearly were in the psychosis of the Mary Kate and Ashley
I
era.
mean, will y'all judge me if I said I've watched In a New York Minute recently?
First of all, how did you watch it?
You could just get it on Amazon Prime.
Oh my, I'm not paying for it, but if there's a way to watch it on what I'm already paying for, I'm gonna watch it. Me and my girlfriends, we have a once a month meetup on like Zoom and stuff where
Yeah,
we pick a movie to watch from like the 90s
that sounds
and
fun.
like end up just laughing. Last time it was You Got Served.
Not You Got Served. Oh my
Again,
God.
highly recommend you get with your friends, get popcorn and watch old movies because the tears,
The
like the absolute
tears,
tears.
the hilarity.
I'm gonna have to recommend them that we do a Mary Kate and Ashley one because we were supposed to do Save the Last Dance this month, but I
Ooh.
think we might have to do a Mary Kate and Ashley
It's
because
really hard for me to watch Save the Last Dance and believe Julia Stiles. Like, I just can't.
don't
Can't
get me
get to
started.
save her life.
That's why we want to watch it because we're basically about to drag Julia Stiles.
Like, why is she wearing like a bandana? Like, I have so many questions. Oh
Oh
my
my
God.
gosh.
The fact that I, with my little teeny bopper friends, saw that movie in the movie theater and thought it was amazing. I have a
We're
lot of
not going to talk
questions.
about that either because there are a lot of movies that we watched as kids that we hyped up to a unhealthy level that we can only apologize for now because to this day, the first time I watched the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger movie as an adult, I called my mom like, I am so sorry because
Oh, that movie
we
was
have
the
3
movie.
VHS copies of that movie in my house because we destroyed 2 of them because we watched that movie so often. Like the way that I wanted my entire persona to be the Yellow Ranger was just totally unhealthy.
Unhealthy.
And my mom was like, I'm glad that you now realize the pain you put me through. And I was like, thanks, Mom.
I'm just saying, I remember the original Yellow Ranger and how she was replaced.
Bruh.
And I'm not okay with it.
We're not even going to talk about the level of tokenism that the Power Rangers do because, Lord Jesus, you can only have one at a time.
Oh
It's not a good look.
I know.
Just like,
God.
no.
Also, the whole like White Ranger situation, Green Ranger, White Ranger, Tommy, let's just say the whole Tommy situation still lives in my head rent free to this day. I still
Which
puzzle
part of
over that.
it? Oh, you mean like him as the bad guy turned good guy?
Yes.
Oh, the only part that lives rent free in my head is the scene where the Power Rangers call their Megazord, and then he pull out his little flute and do a little flip and end up in the Megazord and beat all their asses out their Megazord. That lives rent free in my head. I was like, so y'all let this man come into your Zord. It was 5 of y'all. And he beat all of y'all and then blew his little flute. Are you serious?
That was that day when
that scene lives rent free in my head.
The writers just didn't want to write that day.
Understand, y'all, if y'all were trying to say that good was better than bad, that was a very bad representation of it because when Tommy became good, he sucked.
He sucked. He was so much better
basically
when he was
turn
bad.
me to the dark side because
yeah, no, he was way better bad.
But yeah, that scene lives rent free in my head. The flute always sends me. I just want to know why they made him blow his little flute.
Just for dramatic effect, you know?
Right.
Why not?
Yeah, I'm looking in the comments. Oh man, listen. Now that I'm older, because I know like in the 90s, we were not very socially aware.
Not at all.
The way that we are now. And the way that I dressed up as Pocahontas regularly was
problematic as hell.
I also drew my tattoos.
Pocahontas is very underrated in the sense that the music was so good. I remember I had like the little cassette tape from the soundtrack, and I would play the shit out of that thing. That thing we had to rewind the tape back in it so many times because we played the shit out of that.
I mean,
That was a good soundtrack.
Pocahontas got accolades for the parts that the parts that we loved, but now that I'm older, it gets accolades for the parts nobody talks about.
Mm.
Like they got some major one-liners in there. They're like, "Woo, ooh, yeah."
I just remember going to school and my teacher being like, "So everything in that movie was fake. Let's learn about the real story of Pocahontas. All right, turn to your history lesson." We're like, "Oh my god."
Man, I wish my teacher would have done that because I would have been, more aware. Didn't really learn about how Disney-fied up they did that movie until I was like in high school.
Oh, my teacher was so ready to burst our bubble. Like she had like little, you know how you had those like coloring, those illustrations that they would give you to color. I don't know if you remember those, but we
I
would have
don't
these little
remember that.
illustrations for us to color, but they would also be like educational with like, like little bullet points and stuff. I remember she had
Wow.
one. And
Um,
you know the part where Pocahontas saves John Smith's life from being like beheaded
yes,
or whatever? So
yes.
she handed out that one, right? And we're just unsuspecting, coloring it in. And then she hands out another one that's like like a big red X. It's like, this did not happen. Like, wait,
Oh my god.
yes. And then she was like, actually, Pocahontas never fell in love with John Smith. And then we learned the whole story, like in a kid friendly way. Like she didn't tell us anything horrible, like how Pocahontas was actually like drug over to the New World or to Europe, and how she was paraded around and how she ended up getting sick and dying at a young age. We didn't learn that, but she did it in like a kid friendly way. She was just like, none of that happened, and we were just like, oh, okay.
Interesting. Leave no book behind. I have one question. The comment says, "If I never knew you from the Pocahontas soundtrack, the Shanice and John Cicada version was my wedding song." So, like, how far into the song before y'all started snotting? I'm just
Oh
curious. I'd
no,
have
that's
been ugly
beautiful.
crying. What? That sounds so sweet.
I love it.
Like, also, Miss WOC Reader, don't think you can put this in the comments and not tell us who
Wait,
you
what
were writing
show?
fanfic for.
No, she was replying to Read, Love, Listen. So what show was it? Scroll up.
Read Love Listen was talking about passion.
Are we
I don't know
talking?
what passions is. Somebody's gonna have
Passions was an extremely popular. Um, I'm thinking the Spanish word telenovela, soap opera.
oh.
In I came out when I was in sixth grade. So what was that? Like the late '90s, early 2000s, and it
Mm-hmm.
was about Teresa and Ethan. And Teresa came from this like Hispanic family. I want to say they were Mexican, and her parents like worked for the Cranes. And I think her mom was a housekeeper, or Teresa may have been a housekeeper or something. And Ethan Crane was like the son of the rich Cranes, and she was in love with Ethan, and he didn't notice her, and he was actually engaged to this other blonde white woman. And she was like, "Oh my god, I have to get Ethan to notice me." And then there was like a witch, and there was like all this stuff and all these machinations to try to get Ethan to notice her, and like shit was getting crazy. I think at one point Teresa ended up married to Ethan's dad. It was
Oh.
a mess, but Passions
So
was real
was it a
good.
soap? Was it a kid show
It
or a
was a
soap
soap
opera?
opera. It was a soap opera.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought it was a
It's
kid show.
not
I was
on.
like, what
It's
kind of
not.
kid show were y'all watching?
No, it's not on anymore. It's because you know how like this we know the soap operas we know are like,
Yeah, like
Days
General
of Our
Hospital.
Lives, As the World Turns, General Hospital. Those ones have been on for decades. Passions didn't last very long. It didn't stay on. Like
Oh,
it's not
okay.
on anymore, basically.
Interesting. Also, Leave No Book Behind responded and said, he cried a little thug tear, LOL. I was completely sobbing at the first three chords of the dang
Mm,
song. That would have been me. And that's why we wouldn't have been able to play that song because it would have been like,
okay.
hold it together. You can't get your makeup fixed. Everybody's gonna see your face.
Seriously.
It's like, no, 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 no. Okay, so here's another question. Still in the Disney Nicktoon realm, what is a scene that you remember vividly the first time you watched it? And like, what was your reaction when you
A
watched it?
scene.
A scene from any kid show that you can remember. Or an episode that
We
you can
went to the moon in 1969. If you've seen the episode of Even Stevens, you feel me.
I am shook
Deeply.
right now. I'm so mad that I knew what you were saying.
Look, that episode was iconic.
Oh my gosh. Are
And
we
you know I'm right. You know I'm right. Right.
Yo, good job. That was a
Like
good
somebody starts saying that and we all join. Like we know exactly what's going on.
like, oh wow. Yeah, that one made me squeal on accident. Sorry,
It's
guys.
like not 1968, but a year later. Like you remember that episode.
If you don't know what we're
Clearly.
talking about, I just all I can say is just go watch Even Stevens. I'm not even gonna tell you the episode. Go watch Even
Also,
Stevens and go get your life, and then come back and tell us where that what's that's about.
also, as a girl and as a Black woman, there are two scenes that I will never forget. The first one is when Topanga from Boy Meets World cut her hair.
Oh my god,
She
yes.
always had like super long hair.
Long hair.
And actually, the story behind that is Danielle Fishel, the actress, said that writers wrote that scene into the show because she had never cut her hair before ever in her life.
Oh.
And so she wanted to cut her hair like really badly because, she did it like, what was that, like middle school?
Yeah.
So she wanted to cut her hair. She had never cut her hair before. She wanted to cut her hair. And the writers wrote it into the show.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And another hair scene is when Tia and Tamara from Sister Sister straightened their hair, like got relaxers.
Oh,
When
yeah.
Sister Sister switched over because they had curly hair for the longest, and then there was like a switch.
When they were getting ready to graduate, their hair did a switch. Wow. Look at you dropping gems. Would have never I just thought that they made her cut her hair in Boy Meets World. I didn't know that was like wow.
Also the scene when Steve turns into Stefan for the first time. Unforgettable.
Can we talk about why we thought Stefan was fine, but Steve wasn't?
It's all about swag. We've known this since the beginning of time.
I was like, if you really want to talk about why we need swag, that is the perfect description because there's no way that any of us should have been cheering or anything when Stefan came out the thing because it was still the same.
We're like, so basically Jaleel White took off his glasses, put his pants down a little bit lower, stood up straighter, and put some bass in.
And gave us a walk with a bass in his voice, and all of a sudden it was swoon. What?
That was it.
We were very easy to please.
Very. Oh my God, very. I'm trying to think of some more scenes.
Bethany says it was the voice. No, because back in the 90s shows, all the dudes that were smooth all talked like Stefan.
They all did. I have a scene, and only because I recently started rewatching this series, and it's actually really good. But One-on-One.
I do okay.
With Kyla Pratt.
My rewatch of One-on-One did not hit the way I wanted it to, but please continue.
I don't know. I really enjoyed it. Okay, I haven't finished it, but
I just remember Flex is fine. Is fine, not was. Still is fine.
Okay, so it was the scene where Brianna finally kissed Arnez.
Oh, yeah.
The first time, like the very first time. And it was like, oh my God. Like you saw it coming, but you were still like, oh my God. I'm still mad that we never got an ending to that series. It just stopped. Like we never got it never really wrapped up. Mm-hmm. Now that's a show that I actually wouldn't be mad if they rebooted.
I don't know. Do you remember the Johnny Gill episode of Family Matters?
What episode?
The Johnny Gill episode. I feel like I need to go back and watch Family Matters because I'm now trying to remember this episode.
I don't know, because I watched Family Matters. I wasn't a regular watcher of Family Matters. Family Matters is one of those shows that, like, if I turned the TV on and it was on, I was gonna watch it. But I never like went out of my way to watch it. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But over the years, I've seen enough episodes where it's like, okay, but I never actually purposefully went out of my way to watch it. Oh my God, we never got an ending to Moesha. That is very upsetting. Another show that I was rewatching because remember after everything happened with Black Lives Matter, Netflix decided to put one-on-one Moesha,
Oh, that's
the
right. They were
Parkers.
going to shut the Negroes up and gave us all the black shows.
They were like, "Here you go."
They're like, we support. We just want your views. Shut up. That's basically what Netflix did with
I
them.
don't know if they're all still on there. It was like Sister, Moesha, one-on-one, the Parkers.
Yeah, I think they are.
Okay.
Yo, okay, so brace yourself because I'm gonna give you a couple different iconic moments in my brain from different shows. Obviously, I have to go back up to the top because one of my main ones was a Hey Arnold one. Remember the episode Parents' Day and the journal episode where they found the journal? Can we? I wanted to judo slap Nickelodeon on a personal level.
That was such a violation.
The fact that we had to wait, you're so right. We had to wait 15 years for them to give us a movie for him to find his parents.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the movie I think is still on Hulu. It's either on Hulu or Netflix, but I watched it because I needed closure.
How was it?
I got closure, but
that doesn't sound good.
I mean, I waited 15 years. I feel like I would have enjoyed it more if I was still a kid when it came out. It was more of like, I wonder how they're going to close this up.
I mean, of course you would have enjoyed it more as a kid. That was when you would have needed it.
Right. But, so that's one. That's Hey Arnold.
Okay.
From As Told by Ginger, when Darren gets his braces off.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron go for Hey to Bay.
100%
like,
agree.
Hey, Darren.
I just remember, like, when they showed his teeth and there was that little, like, sparkle thing that they do.
Yes.
And it was like, ding!
Yeah. What was the name of the black chicken As Told by Ginger? Miranda?
That is a great question.
I can never remember her name. I just remember hating her because, like, I appreciated her because I knew Cree Summers was voicing her, but like, I hated her on a spiritual passion because there was a girl in my school that reminded me of her, and it was just like
Miranda. It was Miranda.
It was Miranda. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was Miranda. The quickness in the response.
Talk about how her makeup was ashy for her skin tone.
Bro, how did they manage to make her look janky in a cartoon where you don't have to color match? You just draw.
She also had no eyebrows, but that's okay.
No, don't get me started on the eyebrows. I was like, somebody, there's no way you can explain this to me. I mean, granted, they did everybody's blush as just circles, but like she always looked like the Crypt Keeper's daughter.
That's because the makeup washed her out. It wasn't for her undertone
so bad.
or her skin tone. I'm just glad they at least let her. She had natural hair, which I appreciated.
At least, but barely.
Barely. Everything else was just no. It was a no for me.
I'm just like,
it was a no for me.
This is just. This is not. No, this ain't good. No. Okay, so then my next one is from Rugrats, but it's actually from the first movie where Tommy was over it and he's finna pour the banana food over his brother. I was like, this is a little dark, don't you think, for a baby?
Tommy was done, okay?
Tommy was ready to just chop the deuces and like get his little brother got.
Yes.
He was a baby. He was a year old theoretically when he decided to do this.
Tommy said, nobody consulted me about this child. I'm risking it all.
Bruh, I was like, I watched that pretty recently. I was like, wait a minute. We probably need to come back and talk about how Tommy was ready to just say, F this little boy, I don't want him.
I don't want him. I was never consulted on this decision.
Right, like he was all of 1 year old and like was like ready, like conceptually knew that the way to get rid of his brother was to pour this food for the monkeys to get him. Like, can we talk about this?
Oh, so sad.
You can't tell me Tommy not a serial killer now. Can't tell me
Like,
nothing.
Tommy was in a dark place.
Oh my gosh. So this was my next one. My next one is the Pepper Ann episode where she had to put on a training bra and her mom like took
Oh,
her to the store and basically traumatized her.
yes.
And then she went to school.
I remember that episode because that was like a very like coming of age, rite of passage type
Yeah, that
episode.
episode go like if you it's on Disney Plus. Like I think it's like it's actually very early on in the series that episode happens. The episode is changed a little bit. I will say that because I feel like I don't remember some of the things. I think y'all might have changed some of this because Pepper Ann was very much very vocal and very like, here are my titties.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Like straight up.
I was like, she straight up flashed them in my memory bank.
It was like, oh,
Yeah, I was like, girl, I felt it, but
she was
dang,
proud.
girl. Brace Face in its entirety was a bop for me because again, the theme song drug me in and kept me there. What was another one that I wanted to say? We're going through my list in my head. Is that on Disney?
What?
I'm trying to think because I'm like, wait a minute. Also, I know somebody's asking. I definitely am old enough to have watched and loved Ghost Rider. Just gonna put that
Look,
out there.
when you start talking about Ghost Rider, we're gonna start talking about Wishbone. We're gonna start
See,
talking
the
about
reason why next week is
Reading
happening
Rainbow.
is because we were gonna literally spend a whole like hour and a half talking about why we love PBS.
Yes.
So like
Yes,
I wasn't gonna bring up any of
Wishbone.
those things because we can talk about PBS on its own because it is so slept on.
Mm-hmm.
But I will shout Rugrats out though because Rugrats was the only cartoon that they built you up to the movies
Mm-hmm.
and then started right after the movies.
That's true. They
So
did.
it was like you were basically watching like a continuous series.
You absolutely were. Now that you mention it, you're right.
Also, another episode from Rugrats is the Mother's Day episode where Chucky finds the picture of his mom.
Oh.
That one made me ugly
Wait.
cry.
Wait. Oh yeah, I
That clicked in.
remember that. Oh, Chucky.
Yeah.
And you just felt for him.
You did. It was just like, oh my gosh. Yeah, see, I'm not dumb. Pepper Flat. Well, she does flash them in this one, but I feel like they might have changed a little bit of the dialogue that was said. But I do know like the whole day, like she basically heard people talking about her boobs when they weren't. And that's why we appreciate her.
Oh my God.
Yo, Strange Days at Blake Hosley High.
I don't remember that.
Safari and Endurance. I remember Scout Safari. I don't remember Endurance. And I've never heard of Strange Days at Blake Hosley High, but I feel like if I saw it, I would know.
I feel like the shows that I loved that nobody remembers are like Sweet Valley High and S Club 7.
First of all, did not know you were an S Club 7 fan.
I'm a huge S Club 7. I still play their music to this day. Like,
me too. That was a
unironically.
family. So my family likes musicals and things. Soundtracks are heavy. Whole S Club 7 concerts still happen to this day every Christmas.
S Club 7 is my life's blood. I've probably seen every episode. I own all the
See,
CDs.
you're not the only person. Like there are other S Club 7 people here. Like this is a safe space.
Okay, I'm so glad because every time I mention it amongst others, they're just like, "What? What was that? I've never heard of that." And I'm like, "S Club. There ain't no party like an S Club party. Show you how."
I remember that because specifically, we all had our parts and we together came through.
And you know all the ad libs like S Club, like you know them all.
Oh my gosh! Look at this. It's a bunch of S Club 7 people in the audience. See, we're not okay. Apparently, Strange Days was a boarding school show where strange shit would happen. I don't know why that description made me laugh. Was that on PBS or was that on what was that on? Yes, for the ad-lib songs in the chat too.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I enjoyed everything about S Club 7 and
everything.
Yeah.
I could literally just sit down and watch episodes of the show now and be completely happy.
Listen. Oh, okay. So I do remember Bug Juice. So, okay, this is
I
gonna
love
sound weird
bug
coming
juice.
to me. Summer camp was a very American concept, which makes me sound like I'm not American. But you know what I mean? Like,
Well, you didn't grow up in America, so it's like,
yeah, but like I did not like when I saw shows about like summer camps and stuff, I was obviously high key jealous because I genuinely thought that every kid in America
mm.
in the summer was going off to these super cool summer camps and having all of these adventures
Okay,
and
can we
like
just talk
doing
about
all
how
these
Bug
things.
Juice was a reality TV show
It was
about
a
kids
reality
in
TV
summer
show.
camp
It
in the
was. You
late
cannot tell me
90s?
it wasn't. It was a reality TV show.
It was. And like that was before the whole reality TV show craze because it was like it was literally like to me it was like the real world and then it was Bug Juice. Those were like the two reality TV shows that were out
Yep.
at that time.
I remember this show too, Flight 29. Flight 29
Wait,
was
what?
lost for kids. Right. That's what I'm saying.
What?
Like there were a lot of shows where like the kids would be
That
like
sounds
stranded.
really, really familiar. Like I
It
feel like
when you Google it, you'll know.
oh, do you remember that show with the dinosaurs?
Please be more specific.
It was like, was it Land of the Lost? No, Land of the Lost was a different show.
Land Before Time.
Not Land Before Time.
I was about to say, man, traumatizing.
No, there was this one show, and there were these like dinosaurs, but they were like 3D. They weren't like cartoon. It's hard
They
to
were
explain.
3D.
This is gonna kill me. I don't know if they were 3D. It's almost like they were like puppets, but not quite.
And what did they do on the show? Because I'm trying to think now.
It was like there was like a family, and there was like a baby. This is gonna bug me.
Did the baby sit in the
A high chair.
a high chair?
Yes,
It was
all the
called
time.
Dinosaurs.
Oh, really? That's what it was called?
Yeah, it was called Dinosaurs.
That show was trippy.
Yeah, that show was dope. Like, might have been a little too adult, but that show was dope. I loved that show.
Okay, I was like, I knew
Yeah,
somebody's gonna know what I was talking
it's
about.
the baby. That's exactly. It's the baby. The baby is what made me think of the show.
Yes.
Did anybody? Oh my gosh, Tuttenstein! I watched that show.
I don't remember that show.
It's literally about King Tut.
Oh.
It was it's supposed to follow like the mummy, King Tut as his mummy form. He's like
Gotcha.
technically a display at the museum, but of course I think it was like lightning brought him back to life.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, because shout out to Discovery Family because that was also another
Oh yeah, that was like another
that
little.
was another little thing that gave us some pretty good shows.
Do you remember
Yeah.
Alex Mack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex Mack, My Brother and Me,
Mm-hmm.
Alan Strange.
Was it My
All
Brother
those
and Me?
shows.
Was it My Brother and Me where there was that one episode where one of the little I think it was the little brother was like, hit me.
Yeah.
Now that's a scene that lives forever. He was like, hit me. And he's like, what happened? He hit me.
Yes, that was it. Yes. Okay. I watched Bratz and I watched Winx Club.
Can we talk about the new Winx Club that's on Netflix and how
I
it's
have
really, really good?
never watched it. And from what I heard, I don't want to watch it.
It's so good. I don't know anything about it. And so I don't know if it's following
Oh, so
canon
you
or
never
it's
watched
not.
the animated series?
Never. But I love it. Like I love the
Mm.
Netflix one. I'm like, oh, this is good.
Okay, yeah, because I watched the animated series. Everybody who watched the animated series, they were not a fan.
Okay.
Can somebody please? Can you bet or TA? Can you explain what Huntic is? Because I feel like I know this series, but it's not ringing a bell in my head right now.
Also,
Oh my gosh, Shelby Woo!
I remember Shelby Woo.
Man,
And the
the
famous
journey of Alan
attraction.
Strange. Heck yeah, I remember the journey of Alan
Me
Strange.
too.
Where in my head, it logically totally made sense that an alien would come down and live with a family in a box.
Of course.
Of course, totally. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to truly get over the crush that I had on Lee Thompson Young.
I get sad because he passed away.
I know. I literally watched the detective show that he was in because he was in it.
It's really sad.
Mongolian Isles.
It breaks my heart.
Yeah. A lot of people are not going to watch the new Winx. The fashion is tragic. The storylines are terrible. And I hate how they did Aisha and Layla and Musa. That's another thing I
Damn.
heard. I heard
Okay.
that like the script for it was just not Winx.
See, I didn't know the original, so I think that's probably what's helping me.
It's definitely probably what's helping you. Because from what I heard, that's the problem. It's not giving us
Yikes.
it's not giving us any. Why do I feel like I know this show?
Which one?
Huntic. I'm gonna have to go Google it after our conversation today because I feel like I know this show, but I can't remember. I remember Smart Guy.
Oh my God, of course.
Yeah, but what's the name of the show where technically all three of them, Tia, Tamara, and Taj are in one movie where the grandparents go younger?
It was a movie and it was called
Oh, what is the name of that movie? Because Grandpa's still fine to this day.
to this day.
17 again.
17
Thank
again.
you.
There we go.
Yes, man, still fine. Still fine.
I remember being young and just staring at that man in awe.
Man, when Tia posted a picture of him talking about reunion, I was like,
like, oh, I see he hasn't aged a day. Great. Love it.
I was like, okay, so you're aging like fine wine that I would love to taste.
Fine wine. That you would love to taste. Wow.
I mean, because I thought he was beautiful, like when I was younger. So
he's absolutely gorgeous.
When I found out they were doing that movie, that Christmas movie together, I watched it because I just needed to see him smile. Now that I'm an adult, and I was like, "Yup, still weak."
Oh, that is hilarious.
I think. Well, okay, Kenan and Kel. First of all, that was another thing. In the '90s, there was like a group of Black actors, and they all either starred in a show or guest starred in a show.
Yeah.
Like everybody guest starred on everybody's shows.
They would be like switching out shows, like between like The Game and like Moesha. I mean, everybody was on Moesha. Even
Living Single, like all of them.
Even may he rest in peace, Kobe Bryant was on Moesha. Like everybody was on Moesha.
Kobe was on a couple people's shows, actually.
Yeah, he was
too.
Yes, and they would just keep switching in and out, and like it was kind of nice to see, though. It seemed like a nice network.
Yeah. Well, you know why they did that, right? Like why at one point we had like this golden era, this golden era of Black television, right?
No.
Because if you think about it, think about the networks where those shows were on. Those were the beginnings of some of those networks.
That's true. Like building them up.
Yeah, it's like when they needed us, they exploited us and then took it all away.
I mean, you bring up good points.
Terrence Howard was actually on Living Single. Terrence Howard showed up in multiple shows. Because if you start going back and rewatching, young Terrence, young Morris.
He's been working hard for a long time.
Young Morris, older Morris. Hallelujah. But yeah, like Journey was also at everybody's kid show. Sometimes she was the token Black girl, but she was in everybody's shows.
I mean, she was on the Cosby Show, remember? She was one of Rudy's, not Rudy, Olivia's friends.
She was Olivia's friend. Yes, she was. Yeah,
I mean,
we
she's
built
been acting
Fox,
since she was little.
We built the CW. Like, we built all of those Black people. Speaking of Proud Family, I'm trying to think of the name of the person on TikTok. There's a person on TikTok that basically talks about why Penny had crappy friends and should have actually fought all of them.
Oh my God.
It is the most entertaining piece of television. It's so entertaining because like I went back and watched the original Proud Family before the new Proud Family came out. And I must say I very much like the new Proud Family over the old Proud Family for some reasons, whereas I like the old Proud Family over some of the stuff in the new Proud Family now. And it's very interesting the little pieces of like why. Like for real though, like I would have fought Dejanay and La Cienega a long time ago. We would have never been friends, especially La Cienega.
I was
Because
about
the
to
way
say,
she
La
put
Cienega,
sideways out her mouth,
that was never her friend.
bruh. I
Ever.
was like, I just like, and also to also be a point, like I also hate the way that they wrote Dejanay as well.
Absolutely. They wrote her as a stereotype, which is
Yeah.
completely
Down to the
uncalled for.
12 brothers and sisters. Like
Yep.
there's a lot of problems there. A lot. But to this day, La Cienega can still catch fades.
Catch these hands.
Like if you haven't started watching the new Proud Family, like I recommend it. It's good. To me, it's good. I enjoy it. But all I kept thinking on the first episode was like, La Cienega talked all this cash money.
Mm.
And then we get to this episode and I'm cackling. And then you still being nice. Have you learned nothing?
Nothing.
Drop her like a bad habit. I mean, we're not going to get into why the Gross Sisters are blue because I have some theories.
Really?
I do. The same way all Dejanay's siblings were named after spices. There are some serious Black stereotypes that are perpetuated in Proud Family that are used as jokes that are just actually very, very terrible.
They're harmful too.
Yeah, including why the Gross Sisters are blue. So it's like, on one hand, I've been enjoying the show. On the other hand, I am recognizing, like
the problematic parts.
Yeah, so it's like, we could have let the Gross Sisters be, brown. But instead they're so dark, they're blue.
That's sad.
I'm not down with it. But again, it's a lot of things. I could literally go on a whole rant about the Proud Family, about the good and the bad of Proud Family, because it's also another thing to note, like this was created by us. So it's one of those things where it's like, why would you do that? But again, that's another time for another day. Sorry. Everybody in the comments like, I didn't even make that connection. My bad.
That's hilarious. Oh
Yep.
my God, that is too funny.
My bad, y'all. But yeah, like I said, I still watch the show. I'm just very aware.
I think that's the important thing, because back in the day, we didn't know,
Yeah, because I watched that show without even really thinking about it when I was younger. And now that I'm older, I was like, wait a minute.
Exactly.
Like, ooh, that's, okay. All right. And then like they fixed Michael. Literally
really?
fixed it. Like they gave Michael the evolution that he deserved.
Okay.
And took out like all the homophobic type statements, but they've left in some other things that are still like, okay, guys, come on. But yeah.
I think that they're put in a weird position because they don't want to change it so much that it's unrecognizable. But they want to at least change the things that are just completely like you have to change,
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like the Gross Sisters would still be the Gross Sisters if they weren't blue.
Yeah.
Because they still got the same voice actors. They would still be doing the same mannerisms. They would still be the same weird people. Because the way that they act in the new series, I cackle a little bit more now because honestly, like they some of the realest people on the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, okay. All right, we're going to keep them blue. Okay, whatever. I don't care. Excuse me. But I say all this to say,
for our hour mark,
we can still enjoy our shows, but we do need to start, we going to have to call out what we need to call out. Still enjoy the shows, still enjoy your nostalgia. Just, sometimes when you're looking at it, We're looking at it from an older lens now, so you know you might notice some things. That's all. But I do recommend you go back and watch all of it. That's all I'm gonna say. I think we're at our 1 hour mark, and it's a good Thursday night, and a lot of us got to go to JOB in the morning.
Don't
So we're
remind
gonna
me.
wrap it up here. We are getting ready to come to the final day of week 1 of Throwbackathon. If you've been participating, thank you guys so much. We love it. Don't forget, if you guys are participating on Instagram, to tag us and or use our hashtag so we can see what you guys are doing.
Yes,
I am
please.
currently on book 3. What book are you on, ma'am?
I hate you. I'm almost done with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'll probably finish
Okay,
it tonight before I go to sleep.
we've got 2 weeks. That's what 2 weeks are for.
You're all like 3 books down.
I mean, I'm in I am in one of my reading moods right now, so that's why books are just kind of shooting through. So
Yes.
it won't be like this after, I promise. But yeah, if you guys want to see more Throwbackathon action, you can check out our Instagram at Black Pros Book Club. We will be back next week for more reading sprints, and our Thursday discussion for next Thursday's TV chat is all about PBS. So if you want to come hear us talk about all that stuff, including the fact that I'm finally going to watch the Arthur finale, then come back and join us next week. Until then, guys, stay blessed.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.